Joining me now is New York State Senator Jabari Brisport. Jabari is the state senator for New York's 25th State Senate District, representing parts of Brooklyn. And prior to joining the New York State Senate, Senator Brisport worked as a public school teacher in Brooklyn, where he was born and raised. Brother, how are you this morning? Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm good, Ben. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I love the work you're doing. I'm so happy to be here.
Hey, man, the pleasure is genuinely ours. There's a lot for us to cover, particularly you being in New York. Obviously, there's a lot going on. It's budget time for the state of New York, as well as all of the ruckus that's going on around Governor Andrew Cuomo. But I want to start first with you and your race, your candidacy, because anytime we get to see not only a black man, but also a progressive actually get power anywhere in this country, it's actually an achievement for our goals. So could you just tell the people a little bit about you, your candidacy, and your victory?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Ben. So I'm a black socialist. I'm also the first openly queer person of color ever elected to the New York State Legislature. And I ran on universal rights, saying that every single person should have access to housing, a decent education, clean energy, and healthcare. And the people voted us in.
Hey, and that is, I love that you started right out the gate. You're a black socialist. There's so few of us. And when we do actually say that we automatically just an FBI file just poof out of nowhere just appears. So I know you being a black queer socialist in power, your FBI file is probably twice as big as mine. That said, tell me some of the about the pushback that you get because of all of those identities that you represent, and how that has impacted you as a person.
I mean, I think the biggest pushback is people saying that I'm out of touch with what the majority of New Yorkers want. And that's a lot of the arguing that's happening right now as we discuss this budget, which is, how much we actually want to tax the rich and make sure that we're investing in working class people in the 99%. And so many of our conversations are like, Jabari, these policies are going to scare away a lot of our voters. They're going to scare away Democrats. They're going to make us lose to Republicans. And all the polls show that, the people saying this are the ones out of touch. Like the majority of New Yorkers support these redistributive policies, taxing wealthy people, investing in social services, which is like akin to, my race, actually. People say socialism is this far left fringe, whatever. But when you hear what we're talking about, when we're gunning for, it's actually to uplift the working class and the 99% of us.
Yeah. Yeah. How can see? And this is the part. This is what bugs me, man, about this, because they will say that you're out of touch. And particularly, let's talk about your tax policies and things you advocate for as a socialist. They say that you're out of touch, but what you're literally advocating for is what working people absolutely need. And when you have a chance to speak with them, I know that you hear that this is what working people really want. So one, who's saying that you're out of touch, and do they realize that they are actually the people who don't know what the hell is going on around their state?
I've spoken to my colleagues. I've told them already, it doesn't make sense if, 90% of the state is saying, sure, raise taxes on these people, and this people. And like y'all are saying, oh, we can't do that. That's too much. We can't touch those people. They're not actually that rich. Like, I'm saying I don't want to be, we're going to be perceived, the Democratic body of the New York State Senate is going to be perceived as out of touch.
So talk about this. It's budget season there. Where are the priorities? There's only one thing that I actually take from Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is when she said, show me your budget, show me your values. So talk about the budget in New York, and how does it align, or what does it reveal about the values of New Yorkers or the people in power in New York?
So we worked really hard to roll back the governor's proposed budget. The way it works in New York is the governor proposes a budget, then the legislators propose their own budget, then we kind of hash it out until we come up with the final thing. So the governor's budget had all these cuts in it to social services, and we rejected all of those and found more money to invest in Medicaid health, education, and housing, rental forgiveness, and ensuring that people could have some degree of dignity moving out of the COVID-19 crisis. It is not enough. Like, I was pushing for a lot more revenue, and I'm going to keep doing that until the final budget on April 1st. But, our priorities are really, ensuring that people are not hurt even more than they have been in the past year.
Absolutely. Another topic, I don't know if I want to spend too much time on this, but it has to be spoken about. Governor Andrew Cuomo, the allegations are piling up. I think we probably know one of the first accuser, Lindsey Boylan, because she was running for office and I tracked her campaign pretty closely. But since she was the first one to come out, there have been subsequent women who have come out and said the exact same thing. But yet and still, Cuomo is refusing to resign, and he is mounting an offense against pushing back against not only the women, but anybody who's speaking out about it. Where do you stand on the governor in terms of whether or not he's going to resign?
I think he's too proud to resign. I've already called for impeachment with several other of my socialist legislators. And you kind of hit it on the head. Like, what we're seeing is, in addition to the allegations, we have a culture of abuse and bullying, which he's perpetrated throughout his entire tenure as the governor, and we've seen the gaslighting that he enjoys doing and looking for someone else to blame for the faults. We heard previously, AOC once said, in any other country, me and Joe Biden would not be in the same party. In any country, me and Governor Cuomo would not be in the same party. He's a right-wing Democrat that has pushed austerity policies, sought to cut services for the working class. When we go to the nursing homes, for example, his systemic underfunding of healthcare led to those being just hollowed out, being understaffed, and that really exacerbated the number of people that died in nursing homes. That's his fault.
Yeah, no, and that you took the words right out of my mouth, because as egregious and offensive and as much as he should resign because of the sexual harassment and assault allegations, I mean, the nursing home cover up, to me, should have been the very first thing that he should have been held accountable for. Could you speak about and explain to the people what happened there and the lack of accountability around that specific issue?
Yeah, Governor Cuomo was granted an expansion of emergency powers at the top of the pandemic last year in March. And one of the things he did early on in late March last year was that nursing homes were refusing to take back patients that had tested positive for COVID-19, and he basically switched the law so they would have to be forced to take them back. And he also gave legal immunity to the executive boards of nursing homes in case there were any increases in deaths. And then he lied and said that there were fewer people dying than actually were, and hid the actual numbers from the public to avoid blowback. And it has all started to come out in the past few months, and it is just awful, and it's really disgusting what he's done.
And just one last, I keep saying last question, this may be the last one, but what really is one of the biggest challenges that we're facing with Governor Cuomo is the amount of fanaticism that surrounded him because of the media portrayal of him early on. And so while the media was flattering him and creating this cult of personality around him, he was actually implementing policies that contributed to death and covering it up. Could you speak to the popularity? Where does it stand now that all of these truths are coming out, as opposed to where it stood at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was, well, not everybody, but too many people were fans of him? Yeah.
So Governor Cuomo is, I like to call him a Machiavellian mastermind. Machiavelli said it's the best to be feared and loved, or just be feared if you can. So Governor Cuomo has gotten away for 10 years being loved by the populace at large in New York, but, feared by other legislators who know that he is a bully and extremely vindictive. And the popularity came just from him being consistent and seeming like he had a plan and making people think that he was on top of everything, while meanwhile he was sweeping deaths under the rug. And so, you can only keep people scared of you for so long while doing really disgusting things. And now stuff is coming out to light. Politicians are standing up. Assemblymember Ron Kim is saying, I'm not scared of you anymore. I'm going to say what you did, and I'm not going to back down when you threaten me or threaten to destroy my career. And you see other people coming forward as well.
Brother, tell everybody how they can get up with you and support what you're working on.
So my name is Jabari Brisport. I'm a state senator in New York. You can email me at brisport@newyorksenate.gov, or you can follow me on Twitter at Jabari Brisport.
Jabari, thanks so much for joining us, and we would love to have you back anytime you're available.
Thanks, Ben. I'd love to come back.